Continuing reviews of comedies here on RB&D Reviews, I will be reviewing the film that started British comedian Peter Sellers' rise to international stardom in The Mouse That Roared. Hi everybody, I'm Rob, and The Mouse That Roared is a satire that was released in 1959, and the movie is set in the tiny European country Duchy of Grand Frederick, where everybody still lives like it's the 1500s, where people still use bows and arrows, and the army still wears armor and chainmail, and they are going broke, and the government decides to have a war with the U.S. in order to lose and collect lots of post-war aid. But when the force leader arrives in New York during a practice drill, they end up capturing a brilliant scientist who is working on a bomb that can destroy a whole continent. This then creates a complicated situation between the two countries. Now, The Mouse That Roared is based on a book, and I thought this movie was a really, really fun satire. When I was watching the movie, I was kind of surprised to see how relevant the film still is, because some satires I have seen don't hold up very well or become out of date, because oftentimes they'll focus on current stuff and it just doesn't, last, down the line. But, with nowadays, some countries are still building weapons that could wipe out an entire country. And the parliament in Fendrick is made up of two parties. There's one representing the working class and the other one representing the wealthy. Kind of sound familiar, doesn't it? And you also get citizens who love their country, but they really don't want to go to war. And Peter Sellers, who would go on to play the original Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther films, got to play three roles in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, plays three very different characters here. He had a very, shall we say, great gift of playing multiple roles in some of his films. Right here you have the cowardly, idiotic Tully, the Force leader, an arrogant prime minister, and a Queen Victoria-esque duchess who is kind of like a motherly figure to her country. And Sellers not only uses different voices, but body language as well as creating little bits of business to create individual personas.
Men of Fenwick, when you hear the name of Grand Fenwick, do your hearts swell with pride? Yes! And if your country calls, will you rush to enlist? No! We stand poised on the brink of disaster. There is only one way out. War. We must declare war on the United States.
But we can never win such a war.
Of course not. But we could win the peace. I've given this a lot of thought, gentlemen, and I'm perfectly positive I am right. You must remember, the Americans are a very strange people. Whereas other countries rarely forgive anything, the Americans forgive everything. There isn't a more profitable undertaking for any words, gentlemen. In effect, we declare war on Monday, we are defeated on Tuesday, and by Friday we will be rehabilitated beyond our wildest dreams.
Yes, but is that honest, Bobo?
No, not really.
And Doctor Who fans may be delighted to see William Hartnell, Doctor Who #1, appear in this film as Will, the country's authoritative drill sergeant, a role that he played quite a bit in the movies. Now, I loved reading all the humorous signs that appear throughout the movies, sometimes signs in the forest and when they're crossing through and all that. And I also loved the one-liners that appeared throughout the script of the movie.
Fine thing. The United States and the Grand Duchy of Fenwick are at war, and it takes the FBI to find out about it.
What's the matter with them? Stay away from...
Stop! But we're at war, Sergeant.
Not wake everybody!
In The Mouse That Roared, it's not as zany as Sellers' later films, but while it deals with serious issues, the actors seem to be having the time of their life creating, a lighter satire than what I usually see. But there were some parts that I really didn't think that worked quite as well. Tully is given a romantic subplot with the professor's daughter. She's played by Jean Seberg. It's cute, but it really doesn't match the same tone as the rest of the story. And she kind of falls in love with him rather quickly. And there's also dialogue in the movie about how the U.S. is a good country with friendly people, and I can imagine viewers rolling their eyes at. But I think this movie, if you have not seen The Mouse That Roared, go to your Netflix or library. I recommend checking it out. I thought it was a very fun movie. If you haven't seen any of Peter Sellers' films, recently I've gone on movie boards, and I'm a little bit saddened to see a lot of people don't know who Peter Sellers is anymore. I do recommend, if you liked Mouse That Roared, to check out Dr. Strangelove and some of the Pink Panther films. I think Pink Panther Strikes Again, Shot in the Dark, and Return of the Pink Panther, I think, are the best entries in the Peter Sellers series. But he was a very gifted British comedian, and he could be very good at slapstick as well. And I know sometimes I read that he had, he could be a little bit arrogant and self-centered, but, I think he was a very gifted comedian, and it's sad that we don't have somebody like that, quite like that nowadays. So, yeah, Mouse That Roared, check it out. It's available on DVD, and I, of course, recommend it. All right, well, thank you very much for watching, and leave your comments about the movie if you have seen it or about this video, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching.